none of that verbiage attached to it. It was pretty much an unspoken realization on my part, and one he was presenting on his part. Right? And I don't think he was presuming or assuming anything. I met him that night, right? And we talked for a few hours through that night, and woke up the next morning, saw him, and it pretty much got on from there. You know, I was always there. Yeah, he was always there. There was a few weeks where he'd go and he wouldn't be there. You know, go off and do something else and run around. He was, you know, he had some capability of definitely being in a couple places simultaneously. There was no doubt about that. I got to experience that once or twice at least.
Have some pretty weird experiences
Well, yeah,
with him.
you know, he's laying on the couch, taking a nap, and I'm hanging around the house, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go out and do something. So I'll go down to the Thunderbird in town. I left, he was on the couch. I get to the Thunderbird in town, he's sitting there. He's there, sitting by himself. And I walk up, sit down next to him, like, you know, you're just, yeah, I'm just like, what's going on here? I mean, it was shocking. Because I didn't want to ask him, you know, how'd you get here so fast? It's like, there was no way he could have gotten there that fast. He was in two places at once. You know, I looked at him and I said, you know, how's it going? He's like, good, I'm getting some rest. I'm just like, yeah. You know, I wasn't going to, you know, make a scene. But it was shocking. It really was. It really, it's disturbing. You know, it's like the first night I met him. On my birthday, you know, there was people over. It was pretty much a social occasion. But then after everybody left, you know, it's probably 10:30, 11 at night. It was summer. It's still warm outside. So me and him went and sat at this picnic table. And he's sitting across from me. And he's talking to me, right? We're having a conversation. And all of a sudden there's this, you know, he just says out of the blue, he's like, you know, the world's like an onion. All you got to do is peel it off layer by layer. And as he's saying it, I'm feeling this really intense vibe. I mean, just vibration of energy, really intense. And then this blue light starts, you know, building around him. His hair stands up just a little bit like it's reacting to it. And then he's not there anymore. There's no him. Not even his clothes. It's not like his clothes laying in a pile. They went with him, wherever it is he went, right? What was really interesting is I could see the blue light, right, this emanation, and there was a pine tree that was directly behind him. That it almost looked like it was in a fishbowl. It was doing this whole thing to this energy. It was very, very intense. And then I could hear him in my head. I could hear him talking. Again, it was an energetic buzz that was translated into a thought of my own, if that makes any sense. And then I'd have it. You know, he's like this. This is real. This is real. I'm like, wow, yeah, I know this is real. I'm watching this happen. It fades out. You know, tones down to what you might call normal reality. It tones down, and he looks at me. He's like, "You didn't piss your pants." I said, "Nope, I didn't piss my pants." I said, "I've been around the block, you know, a few times. So, I mean, I was ready to. I almost lost it, but because I'd never seen that happen before. You know, not that. I mean, I've seen, you know, people glowing, but I've never seen someone go physical to that. That was intense. You know, and so I was a little rattled. But he says, man, when that happened to me, I pissed my pants. I did. I pissed them good. They, you know, I had to take a bath, and they're all laughing at me. Don Juan, Don Gennaro were laughing at him. You know, it was pretty intense. You know, so I guess, you know, from that moment on, it's really weird. I think that's how the real ones do it. I mean, if they're real, they're not going to be concerned with your petty grievances, your feelings, your opinions. They're going to hit it, and they're going to hit it hard, and they're going to see right away if what they're sensing is real.
And if you take it personally, they'll just laugh at you.
Yeah, and you could be done. I watched Carlos. People, you know, there were several people who found out he was in the area. Oh, wow, I got to meet him.
Sure,
I've got to meet him. I bring him over. He just wouldn't even talk to him. And, you know, and it was funny because I always wondered, why won't he talk to these people and talk to those people?
How did he choose? Right?
Yeah, but over the 2 years, I learned how. He knew the truth about himself. Therefore, no one could lie to him about anything. Because it's so piercing. It is such a clear, concise, unconfused, unfettered, unegoic reality. This presence that is really just all, it knows it. It knows what's happening. There's no way anybody could tell it what is it, that what's happening isn't. There's no way. You know, it's almost like the conviction is built into to the experience. You know what I'm saying? So when that takes one over, right? When their soul is aflame, and that takes them over, you process differently. You're not relying on the mind to go sniff up facts and put it together like a puzzle. You're seeing the whole picture, at least from your vantage point, what appears to be the whole picture. Right? It encompasses more. That's growth. Growth is, okay, I used to see only this much, now I see this much. Right? Well, the more you see, the more you become aware of the mechanics of it all. The more you become aware of someone could be smiling at you and saying niceties with some serious venom coming out of them. This energetic. You ever had that? You ever had that in your life? Where someone is being really polite to you, but right underneath that, you know they'd love to sock you in the jaw.
Right.
Yeah, that's really disturbing. You got to get rid of that. It's that feeling that's really, paralyzing people.
Right. The eyes don't match the words coming out of them.
Right. Well, when you get to a state where you notice this happening in everyone, to a degree, right? The only ones you don't notice doing it is if you're still doing it and you're not aware of it, and they're doing that level of it, then you don't. But anybody of things you've worked out in yourself, anybody presenting that, you see it right away. It's impossible not to. And that's a real hard part. It becomes real. That becomes dangerous. Seeing that becomes dangerous to you because you're seeing it for real. Someone's acting pleasant, but you feel that it's not. There's something else under there. This unacceptance, this anger. Right? It kind of makes you feel a little weird because you go into the people you know and love, you see them doing it. You see them doing this thing where how they feel is not matching what they're saying, right? Which really just drove me to make sure that I'm really clear myself. I couldn't put that on anybody else right off the bat. I couldn't just go, well, that's you. You're doing this and that. I had to really look, like basically unscrew it, right? Dump everything out, and look at it, smell it, make sure no, that's not rotten. No, that's not rotten, and look and see if it's my flaw, because that's the only. Otherwise, I'll be delusional. Who wants to be delusional? I guess there are people that do. There's plenty of them that are. So there obviously is people who I don't. It's not my trip. It's become too real. So you get to that spot where you can see the flaw, the thing that should not be, and that messes with you because you see. You can't. Your mind cannot understand how to even undo this. Right? In anybody. How to undo it in the world. I mean, that flaw is why we have war, why we have poverty, why we have greed, why we have competition, why we have supermodels. It's why we have everything. It's a thing that really shouldn't be. You know what I mean? It's taking the juice, the attention somebody has, and it's putting it on something that some guy created. A supermodel was created by some guy in an office. See, they're all creations. They're not beings. Right? But the more attention and energy and awareness go to, articles, things, right, the less being gets. And then we're done. Because you don't, to move up, I mean, anyone who really thinks they're going to heaven, they should check twice to make sure that's true. Because there's a whole lot of people out there that are extremely delusional in that. Because they see their faults and they don't change them. They're waiting for somebody to change them. There is none of that. It's like